Hello lovely viewers, and welcome back to the Bold and the Beautiful News official YouTube channel. As Dr. John Finnegan reveals the intricate scheme masterminded by Dr. Grace Buckingham, the Bold and the Beautiful has produced one of its most startling medical fraud plots. A complicated criminal conspiracy, including fabricated medical papers, $1 million bogus therapy, and Grace's eventual arrest and incarceration, has developed from what started as a desperate father's effort to rescue his dying kid. When Liam Spencer pays Grace a visit in jail, she offers a sincere apology and begs him not to take legal action against her, marking the story's tragic culmination. Investigation results from Finn's mounting concerns. Grace Buckingham's complex fraud plan was uncovered thanks in large part to the medical knowledge and keen observational abilities of Dr. Finn Finnegan. At first, Finn had been concerned about Grace's professional behavior because of her unusual personal involvement in Liam Spencer's case. Finn looked more closely at the medical records and treatment plans because of the dubious circumstances surrounding Liam's abrupt hospital departure and the covert nature of his experimental therapy. When Finn found inconsistencies in Liam's medical scans and treatment history, his inquiry became more intense. Finn was in a unique position to see the medical discrepancies that others would have overlooked since he was a qualified doctor. As he started to gather evidence that Liam's brain tumor diagnosis could have been a fabrication from the start, his confrontation with Grace about these anomalies signaled the beginning of the end for her fraudulent plot. When Finn discovered that Grace had been giving Liam medicine that was really making him worse rather than curing any true ailment, it was a game changer. Finn became suspicious after learning that Grace had been fabricating symptoms to back up her erroneous diagnosis, so fabricating a medical emergency to support her costly experimental therapy. Grace Buckingham's $1 million medical fraud scam included persuading Bill Spencer to spend $1 million on an experimental therapy for a brain tumor that was neither required nor legal. The deception started when Grace altered Liam's medical scans, maybe replacing them with pictures of other patients to give the appearance of an irresectable brain tumor. Her closeness with the Spencer family and her trusted status in the medical world allowed her to pull this deceit. Grace probably just made a little incision to give the impression that she was doing a real medical operation as part of her experimental surgery. Grace purposefully avoided scrutiny from other medical experts who may have uncovered her deceit by insisting that the procedure be done in a private facility away from hospital supervision. Since there was probably no tumor to remove in the first place, the surgery's purported success in removing Liam's tumor was just a component of the complex cover-up. This complex deception was motivated by Grace's urgent need for money, which may have been related to debts from her ex-husband Reese Buckingham's illegal activities. The Spencer family was the ideal victim for this intricate medical fraud because of the timing of the plan, which coincided with Bill's fragility and desire to pay everything to rescue his kid. The criminal history of the Buckingham family. It is impossible to divorce Grace's deceitful actions from the Buckingham family's criminal past. One of the most horrific crimes in the history of the program was previously committed by her ex-husband, Dr. Reese Buckingham, who abducted Hope Logan's newborn daughter, Beth, and sold her via an unlawful adoption operation. Threats from threatening creditors and gambling debts drove Reese's unlawful operations, creating a habit of using medical knowledge for illicit financial gain. Beyond Grace and Ree, the Buckingham family's generational pattern of dishonesty also includes their children, Paris and Zoe, who have also acted in ethically dubious ways throughout their time on program. Grace's present behavior may be a part of a broader pattern of using their medical ties to take advantage of weaker patients and their families, given the family's history of manipulation and criminal conduct. Grace's deception may be a component of a bigger organized crime operation, as shown by her possible affiliation with pharmaceutical corporations or criminal networks that are able to plan such complex schemes. The intricate scheme, which included coordinated cover-ups, experimental therapies, and a fabricated diagnosis, points to a degree of criminal organization that goes far beyond individual participants. Grace's detention and the resulting legal action. Grace Buckingham's ultimate danger was unavoidable because of the growing evidence against her. The whole fraud scheme was eventually exposed as a result of Bill Spencer's developing concerns, Finn's medical knowledge, and Detective Baker's investigative abilities. Law enforcement's intervention turned the case from a family drama into a major federal felony with far-reaching legal ramifications. The result of weeks of inquiry and evidence collection is Grace's arrest. Medical fraud, falsifying medical records, harming patient welfare, and conspiracy to commit fraud are probably among the allegations against her. Given the size of the crime, the $1 million that was stolen from Bill Spencer, it is considered a serious federal offense with harsh criminal repercussions. Beyond only being charged with a crime, Grace's arrest has ruined her medical career and professional image. One of the worst instances of professional misbehavior in the history of the show is her betrayal of medical ethics and breach of the Hippocratic Oath. Regardless of how her criminal prosecution turns out, the medical community's diminished confidence in Grace will have a long-term impact on her capacity to practice medicine. Grace's apologies and Liam's visit to the jail. Liam Spencer's visit to Grace Buckingham in jail serves as the storyline's emotional high point and offers both characters a chance at atonement. As Liam and Grace face the repercussions of her behavior in a safe setting away from the turmoil of their family's responses, their jail encounter marks an important turning point in their personal growth. Grace sincerely apologizes to Liam at their reunion in jail for the emotional pain and misery she caused him via her deceitful plan. Her apology takes into account the psychological effects of leading him to think he was dying from an incurable brain tumor, in addition to the financial loss done to his family. Grace's sincere regret shows that she understands how serious her acts were and how they affected Liam's family ties and mental health. Grace's request that Liam refrain from taking further legal action against her shows that she is aware that, even though she may be charged with a crime, civil litigation could have far more dire financial repercussions. As she tries to appeal to Liam's sympathy while admitting the damage she has caused, her plea for mercy reveals the range of emotions surrounding her illegal actions. The Spencer family's emotional toll. The Spencer family's mental health and faith in medical personnel are significantly impacted by the disclosure of Grace's deception. Bill Spencer's sense of responsibility for the horrific experiences his family has gone through is exacerbated by his remorse about being duped by Grace. He was especially susceptible to Grace's deception since he was prepared to spend everything to rescue his kid, demonstrating how even wealthy businesspeople may make poor decisions out of desperation. Beyond the conclusion of the criminal case, Liam has a major obstacle in his rehabilitation from a psychological trauma of thinking he was terminally sick. It will need a lot of counseling and help to deal with the emotional toll of planning for death, bidding farewell to loved ones, and organizing his affairs based on a false diagnosis. Liam may be less inclined to seek medical attention in the future as a result of the trust difficulties this medical fraud has caused. The larger Spencer family must also consider how someone they trusted could have been so completely dishonest with them. The repercussions of Grace's deception are further complicated emotionally by Hope Logan and Steffi Forer's rage at being tricked into thinking Liam was dying. Future plots will mostly concentrate on the family's path to reconciliation and forgiveness. Implications for medical ethics and the law. The story of Grace Buckingham brings up significant issues about patient trust, medical ethics, and the susceptibility of families dealing with medical emergencies. Her misuse of her authority as a trusted medical practitioner exposes the possibility of exploitation in the healthcare system and is a basic breach of the doctor-patient relationship. This story serves as a reminder of the value of getting second views and keeping a healthy dose of skepticism about experimental therapies. Beyond criminal punishment, Grace's acts might result in civil responsibility for malpractice, fraud, and emotional distress. Grace might face severe financial losses as a result of the Spencer family's possible civil action against her, which would exacerbate the effects of her criminal conviction. The case also calls into question the supervision procedures that ought to stop complex medical fraud schemes like this one. We will next explore the startling developments surrounding the imminent finding of Steffi Forers, who Luna is aware is never really gone, exposing a web of deceit, familial relationships, and intense drama involving the brave and attractive. Steffi Forrester is on the verge of discovering something that might break the delicate thread she has been holding on to in the never-ending tale of secrets and survival. Picture the scenario. With her keen intuition developed over years of negotiating the competitive world of Forrester Creations, Steffi begins to piece together discrepancies in the account of Luna's purported death. According to the original story, Luna passed away during her rehabilitation under the careful supervision of Dr. Lee Finn once again. However, because no one has seen a corpse or been there for a formal goodbye, not even Steffi's husband Finn, suspicions have started to spread. The mystery is increased by the lack of hard proof, which raises the possibility that Lee is planning a complex cover-up to protect her new grandchild from the harsh realities of justice, creating a fresh perspective. Maybe on a normal hospital visit, Steffi hears a mysterious phone call or notices an unknown medical record, which raises her suspicions and makes her want to learn more about what really transpired that tragic night. When we take into account Deputy Chief Bradley Baker's participation, which adds a measure of official strain to the situation, the suspicion grows. With handcuffs ready, Baker arrived at the hospital with the full intention of escorting Luna back to the chilly prison where she would be charged for her series of transgressions. Rather, Lee's sorrowful announcement of Luna's death greeted him. A tale told with such believable sorrow that he left with nothing, papers in tatters. But let's give this some creative depth. Perhaps Baker, a seasoned police officer with a knack for foul play, later confides in a coworker about the absence of witness accounts or autopsy reports, sowing the seeds for a possible inquiry that would eventually lead back to Lee. This unquestioning faith in Lee's word demonstrates her will to defend Luna at all costs, even if it means lying to the authorities. Lee is driven by a strong sense of family obligation. Having just learned of her biological connection to Luna, she is prepared to jeopardize her reputation and medical license in order to save the young lady from going to jail again, seeing it as an opportunity to change a difficult history tainted by betrayal and abandonment. Turning our attention to Luna knows everything about herself. The spoilers hint to her September comeback, but one that isn't as prominent. Rather, she will be hiding in the shadows, avoiding the police and her broken family relationships. Imagine Luna hiding away in a remote cottage outside of Los Angeles. Maybe one that Lee set up in secret, replete with fake paperwork and new identities to confuse potential suspects. As Luna struggles with loneliness and considers her tumultuous past of plots and heartbreaks, this concealing phase adds an exciting cat-on-mouse aspect. To broaden our imagination, we may imagine Luna forming hesitant partnerships with surprising figures, such as a kind nurse who smuggles supplies, or even running across an old adversary who reluctantly gives assistance. Her mother Poppy, meantime, is aware of the levels of emotional complexity and reactivity. Still in shock by Luna's effort to blame her the killings, Poppy revealed a shiver of relief upon learning of her daughter's passing. Rahana acknowledged that she could now stroll freely without being paranoid because Luna's shadow was no longer a threat. No more watching her back for the next treachery. Perhaps heightened by made-up flashbacks that depict Poppy's own regrets over years of neglect, this maternal detachment highlights the severe rifts in their relationship and makes her posture seem more like a bittersweet release than blatant cruelty. Future sequences between Lee and Luna promise emotional support as the narrative develops, which stands in stark contrast to Poppy's icy disdain. By taking on the role of the caring person Luna never had, Lee could provide her with emotional support in addition to medical attention, assisting her in processing the turmoil of her behavior. Imagine heartfelt moments when Lee encourages redemption by sharing tales of her own family's hardships and making comparisons to Luna's life. This secret, however, cannot be hidden indefinitely, particularly when McKinnis Woods and actress Jackwell's real-life maternity leave draws near. This might subtly reflect Lee's narrative desire to conceal Luna, perhaps by sending her to a distant facility under the pretense of a protracted recuperation. However, the truth eventually comes to light, and Steffi Forrester is destined to do so, which will result in a heated argument with her mother-in-law. The drama might be increased by Steffi hiring a private investigator to assist her track down digital evidence, such as anonymous bank transactions that pay Luna's refuge. Steffi will undoubtedly respond in a tornado of rage and incredulity upon hearing of Luna's survival, casting doubt on all of the assurances she has been given. Will Finn already be on the secret by then, trapped in the crossfire of loyalties? According to spoilers, he may be conflicted. Family ties and his medical ethics conflict, perhaps resulting in contentious debates in which he defends Lee's decisions. Steffi would surely rant about the notion of Luna wandering freely anywhere close to Los Angeles, pointing out the obvious contradiction in Lee's behavior, even as she demands responsibility. Lee herself had, after all, begged Finn to protect his family from Luna's dangers. She is nevertheless harboring the very one who is so dangerous. Consider how Steffi remembers certain events, Luna's careless shooting of Liam Spencer, which almost killed him and rocked their group, or the devious schemes that repeatedly put Steffi's personal safety in jeopardy in order to go deeper with new aspects. Steffi's anger is fueled by these recollections, which portray Luna as a chronic menace who must face the music rather than as a person who can be saved. Despite having their roots in grandmotherly affection, Lee's protective tendencies provide moral conundrums that might have disastrous results. Has she failed to see the seriousness of Luna's criminal disaster, the attempted killings, the frames, and the turmoil Finn's family has experienced? Luna is not immune because of her blood ties to Lee. Whether anything, it makes things more difficult and makes Lee consider whether what she is doing is obstruction or justice. Ever the ferocious guardian, Steffi will claim that preventing Luna from going to jail is similar to the charges made against Bill Spencer for his own indulgences, endangering everyone and creating the possibility of an escalation. Maybe Steffi threatens to call the police herself, which creates a delicate situation where Lee has to decide between her family and her profession. Will Lee understand the danger she is courting, or will her disobedience put her in hot water with the law for aiding and abetting? Viewers will be kept on the edge of their seats as this plot line develops because it promises to examine issues of forgiveness, consequence, and the fuzziness of familial devotion. As this spoiler-filled adventure comes to a close, Steffi's discovery serves as the catalyst for the pyrotechnics that will break out between the Forrester and Fina Dan clans when it is revealed that Luna has survived. For further information as these dramatic situations unfold, keep an eye on BNB Spoilers. Will justice triumph, or will redemption win out? Share your theories with us in the comments section below.